I always knew what I was going to do from a very young age. As early as 5, I was very creative, excelling in the arts. By the time I was 12 in school, secondary school, I was very certain. I would have conversations with my friends and it would go something like, oh, I'm going to be an Hollywood actress, and I would always respond, and I'm going to make all your clothes, because I knew what I was going to be. But being intentional about my life, about what I wanted to do, about the path I wanted to be on firmly, I would say happened 2 years ago in 2015, when for me it just felt like all chips were down. I'd had an operation and my other businesses, I would say, were failing, and I had to go back to the drawing board. Why did I start what I had started? Why was I where I was, and where did I see myself in a few years' time? And you know, what makes me tick really is the ability to be creative, the ability to see things that other people cannot see, the ability to conceptualize and create and put things out into the world. Is like birthing, in spite of the fact that I'm not a mother. All those little pieces are pieces of you, pieces that you give to people, pieces you give of yourself. And so it's a very personal thing. It's something you have to be ready for. It's something that you have to be, you know, that requires a lot of you emotionally, mentally as well, and in very many ways spiritually, which is why you have to be grounded. You have to be firmly rooted in something for you to be able to give and be replenished from a source. The very first thing I did in school was fashion. I was making clothes for people. By 19, I'd already made red carpet gowns for Nollywood actresses for movie premieres, and it was a very thrilling and, you know, exhilarating experience. As time went on, I decided I wanted to expand. I wanted to do this full time, and so I created pieces. What I struggled with getting clientele, like getting awareness and, you know, reaching my customer base. And I attended a trade show, an exhibition of some sort, but it was very expensive. The amount of time it took for me to get everything together, the resources, and then the fact that it was infrequent. And so afterwards, I thought to myself, okay, how can I improve on this? What is missing? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to have a garden party. I'm going to invite a few of my friends who are already doing things, and we're just going to invite people generally to come and, I guess, buy things, because I just wanted to sell. And within a week, I had a list of 35 names of people I didn't even know who were calling me to say, I want to be part of what you're doing. And so Designers Marketplace, DMP, was started. And that ran successfully for about 5 years. And it just became more and more of a struggle, because it took me away from what I was about. I wasn't creating anymore. I was constantly dealing with people. I'm an introvert by nature, so I like calm, I like quiet, I like to be able to think. And I didn't feel like I could breathe, as a matter of fact. But you know, there's something I've come to believe, that sometimes that ground that you're struggling so hard to plant and nothing is growing is not the ground for you, and you need to let go. And so I had to, you know, take a step back, and I asked myself, where do you see yourself? You know, it got to a point where I had gone so far off what I was doing and why I had started that people would meet me and talk to me and ask me, so what do you do? And I could never answer that question, because I wasn't actually anything. I couldn't, who I was wasn't attached to anything. So I couldn't say, oh, I'm a market person, I run a trade fair. Like, it would never really make sense, as opposed to meeting someone, and even if you're a street sweep, you can say, I sweep streets for a living, that is what I do. I could never answer that question. And it wasn't about the money. I was making money. And it was the fact that my sense of self, my self-worth was no longer attached to anything. So I felt like I was just free falling. It was one thing after the other, headache after headache. And so I took a step back and I decided I need to let this thing go. It's not because it's not a viable business option, it's not because it can't work, it's not because it's not making me money, but I'm losing myself. And I didn't like that feeling, you know. I didn't like not being able to say what I did. I didn't like not being able to feel satisfaction and fulfillment. I didn't like being hassled all the time. I find it difficult to be around crowds of people. I didn't like having to do that because the end was money. And for me, that wasn't everything. I know who I am when I'm creating. I know who I am when I'm, you know, practicing my craft. I know who I am when people ask me, what do you do? And I can say, this is what I do. Even if technically or, you know, within our society, being a fashion designer is still not considered, you know, such a prestigious thing. It's a niche and it's a very viable niche. It's what makes me happy and it's what I'm really, really good at. And so I thought I'd rather do that and, you know, go to bed every night and feel good and be excited each morning to live, to wake up and do something. I love the song. I love the lyrics. I love the melody. It speaks to me, especially where it says it takes only one step to be who you are and shine. For me, I had to take a decision. I had to take a step. And in doing that, I have found greater fulfillment than I did with what I was doing, you know, beforehand. And I'm also shining, I would say, as well in my field because last year I was nominated for 4 awards, including the Future Awards, Exquisite Lady of the Year Awards, and 2 other Indigenous Awards, plus named as top 10 emerging female designers in Nigeria. So it's like it took just one decision and, you know, just 1 minute really for me to just, you know, take a decision and take a step and say, look, this is what you need to be doing. This is who you are, and don't forget that, because the Bible says He will bless the work of our hands. And so that thing that you are doing, you know, will be blessed as long as you take the step to plant the seed. He can't bless nothing, you know. So for me, Intentionally Woman is my song, as far as I'm concerned, my jam. And you know, it's a song that every woman needs to hear. It's a song that, you know, every young girl needs to hear because it starts from a very young age, you know, being certain of who you are, and never forgetting that, of course, as we grow older, as time goes on, we always have to be reminded. And Intentionally Woman is that song that, you know, reminds you every time that, you know, you go girl, you got it. My name is Wanger Ayu. I'm the creative director of Wanger Ayu, and I am Intentionally Woman.
It only takes you one step to be who you want to be and shine and shine. Intentionally Woman.